Right. Okay, let's see if this if this works. So I'm just going to do some painting. The kids are out, Hayley's out, just gone for a walk, so I thought I'd just try and do some painting, and I thought I'd turn the camera on, seeing as I've seen a few people do this. We'll see if it works. So let me know if you can hear me. Hello Brush and Quill, can you hear me all right? I don't normally do all the setup for the thing, so hopefully it's working. I'm currently just working on some English Civil War miniatures, so hopefully you guys can see those. So we've got King's Lifeguard going out. We'll have to see how these turn out. So these were the ones that Miller sent me a few weeks ago. I finally got round to doing them, so I thought I'd take the opportunity while people were out to have a look. So I've just done all the main red on them, so I'm going to be blocking in some highlights now. Hope everybody's having a good weekend. It's been torrential with rain here, so I think that's why painting on a day like today is good. Right, as you can see, I like to put these all on a stick. This is how I normally paint my Napoleonic line troops. I just put them on a big stick like this and try and knock them out nice and quick. How you doing, mate? Anyway, you up to much? Are you managing to get any painting done this weekend? I have not managed to get as much done as I would have liked, gotta say. But to be fair, any painting is good. Although I seem to be picking projects at the moment where I need really large units. So I think whatever I go on to next will be more of a skirmish skirmish vibe. What have we got here? Michelangelo, hello mate. Which bit of the UK am I in? I live in Cambridge, so I'm in the east. Sun's come out now, but up until a little while ago it was absolutely torrential. I had to deliver something to my work, so I had to take a bit of a drive, and it was like a monsoon. The spray was so high on the roads, and fortunately, for multiple reasons, not many people actually around. If I suddenly have to drop off the stream, I'll say now it's probably because my wife and kids have turned up back home and I'll disappear. But I think we'll be able to do something for get at least a nice little 45-minute long session in here. Okay, you're in Cornwall. What's it like down there? I've got a couple of friends who live down that way. But I haven't been there for years. Absolutely years. We're planning on taking the little ones there this year, but funny enough, but of course, everything that happened, that kind of died a death as for any holiday plans, but that's alright, there's plenty of time. I think it's wet everywhere, mate. Well, I'm going to see if I can get these actually knocked out quite quickly. I've already done one test model. I don't know if anyone's seen that, but that's my test model for my lifeguard. They're relatively simple. These are the Warlord Games figures that they bought off Wargames Factory. I quite like them. They've got some quite cool expressions on their faces. I mean, for blocking out units quickly. These kind of models, I suppose, are quite cool, to be honest. I like using multiple manufacturers anyway. You're painting Dutch infantry. There's a thing with Dutch infantry at the minute, isn't there? Leon's just finished his Dutch project. I keep on looking at his videos and then going over to look at 18mm websites, and then having to stop myself because of the pile of stuff that I've got to do. I've got some more Carthaginians have turned up. I've got some more veterans to paint. You're doing the dishes, are you, mate? Do you know what? That's one of my, it sounds a bit weird, probably not the kind of thing to talk about on the painting stream, but that is actually probably one of my preferred jobs in the house to do, because I just hate doing putting away the washing. I'd rather do the washing up. I don't know if that is. I despise hanging up washing and putting it away. I don't know what it is about it. It just frustrates me. I just can't do it. Apparently, I always I hang things incorrectly or put them on the wrong kind of hanger. I don't know. I'd rather wash up the full Christmas Day meal, all the results of that, than hang up washing. Okay, Dutch 20mm. What manufacturer are you using? Right, let's nearly there. At the moment they just look like garden gnomes. That'll do. So what I've done on these guys, I cheated. I undercoated these with a rattle can, and then I covered them in did one of the contrast paints, which I think was Blood Angels Red, just to get the recess shading done. And the coverage goes on quite well. And now I have used, what paint is this? Evil Sun Scarlet, just to add some highlights here and there. And then I'll be dry brushing them later anyway, so I'll bring them down. Oh, memories of doing it with your granddad. That seems to be the thing. My old man, he does it with my kids, the washing up and stuff. Actually, to be fair, anything like that around the house. Yeah, it's Citadel paint. I use multiple manufacturers of paint, to be fair. I don't really sort of care where the paint comes from, as long as I get the effect that I want at the end. I'm not bothered. That being said, I do find some manufacturers better than others, so I've got quite a lot of paint. I use Citadel, Vallejo, Formula P3, which is the Privateer press paint line. I use that. Dark Star paints as well, scale 75. Sometimes it's just what I can find in the shops that I have, and Games Workshop there's quite a few of those, so there's always, you know, the opportunity to go and buy them. And I work fairly near one, so makes my life easier if I need some paints. You never use Citadel paint? It's changed quite a bit over the years. They've added to the range, they've taken away from it, they used those contrast paints which caused a bit of a kerfuffle in the community about whether they were good or not. Just use them for, if you find something that works, use it. If you don't, then if it's not for you, don't worry about it. Right, there we go. Yeah, so looking forward to playing this. So pike and shot. I don't know how long it's going to be. It'll be quite a while before I can actually get troops on the board. But I keep on, it's weird because you, obviously how the battalion operate, where you have the central pike and then 2 wings of muskets, I always think of as one unit, but in the rules, I mean, they can be commanded separately. So so you're actually painting up 3 elements which can be commanded separately or commanded together. So I probably don't have to paint up as much as I like. Wow. Anyone who can paint 6mm naps. There's people on YouTube that do it. I think that would drive me nuts. It drives me nuts painting 28mm ones. I like how they look at the end. What else have we got in here? Oh, hello. A few people have turned up now. Hello, Damjan and Richard. Hello, mate. Nice shirt. Yeah. I picked this up quite a while ago when they toured over here. I've been seeing them quite a few times, and not just in England. I've seen them in Belgium and in Germany as well. Yeah, I'm painting English Civil War pikemen. So King's Life Guard to go, but I got that very nice present from Miller's Miniatures, where he got me the what's it called, the King and Country starter set, and it was enough to make 2 forces. But I decided, I spoke to a few people who well, I spoke to Miller, I spoke to Paul from Paul's Paint Shed, and just about the English Civil War, and Paul put me in the idea in my head about doing them as a large unit, the Life Guard. So I'm basically painting up all of the infantry from this as one massive unit. So, and I've got some bases and other bits and bobs on the way. So I'm going to have a bit of a play with a different period. You find out in January. Oh, Glory 15mm ECW. I had actually had a look at those recently because I was just perusing the internet for alternative English Civil War manufacturers other than Warlord. So Bicorn, Front Rank, and what was the other one that I saw? Oh, Wargames Factory. Just seeing what there was that was out there. So and I did see the 15mm, but I try not to linger on those pages too much, because if I do, I'll end up buying stuff. Let's say just a nice little afternoon paint session while the house is empty. Hello, Richard and Peter. How you doing, chaps? You're actually watching paint dry. Yeah, I've got a I've got a whole YouTube playlist full of them. And then I make videos about watching paint dry, and then I watch other people's videos about about paint dry. It's surprisingly cathartic. What's everybody working? Anyone else painting at the minute? We've got one person washing up. A bit spur of the moment this, so have to see how this works out. Oh, I've forgotten to paint the shirt. See, this is the thing as well. I have to go back now. Pick some bits out. It's a pain when you're doing production line painting, as you get all the way down and then you realise that there's something that you've forgotten right at the start. So you need to go and pick that all out all over again. That's why I should actually be looking at my little test model. Okay. Right. I have to see it. You're getting your head around Napoleonic armies. Yeah, it can be quite daunting at first, can't it? There's a lot of information out there, and then there's a lot of people with a lot of information that they like to give, and they're very knowledgeable, but it can be a bit of a landslide. Best thing to do is just get a few battalions or a few boxes and just paint them up, put them together, see what you've got, and then just add to it that way. Or even just paint one, see if you like it, because you don't want to buy too much and then discover that you hate it. Hey Mark, best plastics out there for me are the Perry's Water Roses range. Just keep on getting more and more. Great variety. I have to agree with you. If you have a look at something, so I mean I think I've gone through. Ow! See, that's the other thing with these. I just spiked myself again. If you have a look at some of my videos I've done, I think I've gone through about 6 or 7 boxes now. And I would argue that there are very, very few models in my collection that look similar for my Wars of the Roses, other than the fact that they're armoured. You know, I mean, pose-wise, I love those sets. I am going to be working on more War of the Roses in the very near future. I've got some little projects, some little surprises in mind, some stuff I'm working on with some other people as well. So that'll be coming out. But I'm not entirely sure when. I've just got to build a couple of things, and as soon as the lockdown lifts, there will be another game. We actually had our next Wars of the Roses game all planned out, and then of course we went into second lockdown, so had to knock that on the head, which I believe is giving me and my opponent time to paint up a few more units and sort of personalities to use in the battle. So we'll have to see how that one works out. You're working on your ad think. What's this, Richard? No, I can't linger and buy. I did that last night. I ended up buying some bases that I've seen before and never really thought about buying. And then I got them. I will show them off either on when they turn up. But I was kind of looking at it this morning going, did I really want to do that? Maybe I should have just gone with what I normally do, but you guys will have to see. Oh no. You can't paint. That sucks. That's not good. A 10mm carpet monster. I've got one of those, apart from my monster's now about 1 foot tall, and it comes in here and starts moving all my stuff around. If you watch the live stream, you'll hear Ken apparently saying that, because he hasn't got kids, that it's never going to happen. I've been trying to explain to him that the little monsters will get in, they will find a way, and they will get your models. They view it like a challenge. The return of Bergenfolk. Yeah, that'll be him. He'll be back. Glad you remembered that, actually. I'd forgotten about Bergenfolk. I think I will actually be modelling up something. He actually, Falkenberg did have a bastard son. His name was, I think his name was Thomas. And he was actually rather eloquently referred to just very simply as the Bastard of Falkenberg. And after Falkenberg's death, who again he managed to like die in his bed as opposed to on the battlefield. In the big Neville rebellion later, he attacked the Tower of London, and there was actually some pitched battles. But I much prefer Bergenfolk. Russian Quill. Do I fancy game of Black Powder after lockdown? Yeah. I'm always up for a game of Black Powder. As you've seen, I'd like to win a game. It'd be very nice. I'm always up for a game as long as sort of like conditions and work and everything allow. Then of course that would be awesome. What do I prefer? Plastic or metal? Oh, and another nice shirt. Oh, Tabor's Phalanx. Hello. I don't think I've seen you before. Hello, mate. Yes, it's a Sabaton shirt from... which tour is it? Not Heroes. Coat of Arms. Coat of Arms tour. And they played in Cambridge in this tiny little venue, and we ended up... we went to see them. They were supporting Dragon Force. So we watched Sabaton and then left because they not because we didn't really like Dragon Force, but because Sabaton were drinking in the bar. So we went out and hung out with them, which was quite cool. And yeah, bit of fun. And what would I rather use, plastic or metal? For mass infantry like this, plastic, because it makes my life a lot easier sticking them together and working on them. I'd rather use plastics. It's a lot easier. Maybe mix in some metals here and there. Skirmish games, it doesn't really bother me. I've actually started picking up quite a few resin miniatures to use. The detail and metal I find better. I think I saw Miller in one of his videos. He was actually mentioning about these, that the relief that you get from some of the detail on these, like on the cross belts, isn't as great in plastic as it is in metal. So when you're painting on a metal miniature, you can get those details to stand out a lot more. So I would say if I had unlimited time, metal. But unfortunately, that's something which I think a lot of us want, but very rarely achieve. Yeah, that. Okay, I'll keep an eye out for the calendar. I'm intrigued. Yankee Wargamer, hello mate. Damgen, and these ECW, yes. You've just seen Brush and Quill's Napoleonic Army. I've got so many videos to catch up on. It's just been incredibly busy with work. So I did the battle with Haley quite a few days ago, and it took quite a long time to edit it all together. And then fitting in work and everything else around that. Quite hard. Yeah, he's a warlord. English Civil War. I've got, I don't know if you can see that, so I've got all these on the desk here. These are all from the same unit. So these are all, I'm going to get killed now because I can't remember. So these are what these are called the advance, because I've got the pikes up in the air. I've got the guys down here with charged pikes, so they're advancing, and then I've got them at 45 degrees as well. So at port, is that right? At port, someone will correct me. And then what I've done as well, I've used the command sprue to create the like the command group. So we've got the colonel and a couple of ensigns, a piper, not a piper, what's he got? Got a flute, whatever that is, drummer, and then I've used spare kits to create kind of like, I guess, NCOs and sergeants and things which I can mix into the ranks. So they're trying to keep the pikes, I mean, it's sort of like sorted. So, and what I've done as well, on the advice of Miller, to have all of the pikemen looks at least slightly armoured. I bought the additional, I can't remember what it's called, but basically the metal helmets for them all to have, because on the sprues you only get a couple of actual armoured helmets. There's some sort of floppy hats and berets and things. So all of the pikemen in here at least going to have helmets. Brushing. Hello Duncan, how you doing, mate? You can't believe that I argued my wife it wasn't 6 inches. That's the first joke, I'm afraid, that comes out nearly every single game. But I don't think that's ever a battle I'm going to win. She might end up getting a t-shirt with that written on it. I've already had a few requests from people for her to have some kind of quoted thing about inches. I'm not sure if I want to go down that road. Hello Ewan, how you doing, mate? Ah, quite a few people around. I suppose it is Sunday. I've been doing sort of odds and sods all weekend. But I'm going to say, take advantage, empty house, just to get some paint on. They're coming together. So what I'm doing here, I'm blocking out in white a lot of the areas that I'm going to go over the contrast paints. So if anyone wasn't around earlier, I just said I rattle can these with a army painter undercoat. I covered them in the Blood Angels Red contrast paint, and then I use Evil Sun Scarlet to like pick out the highlights. So I don't know how well these are going to come out on here, and obviously these are only about a third done at the minute, so it probably won't be great. And then I'll be dry brushing them up. It just saves a lot of time when you're doing stuff like this. So I should have these 10. I mean, I started these, I rattle canned them, and then did a couple of bits. So hopefully I have these 10 done by the end of the weekend. By the end of the time that we do the stream tomorrow. I think she's more of the star of the battle reports than I am. Yes, I do think people. I think people like to see Hayley play. The thing is, she actually likes to play as well. That's the thing. She, you know, if you, I don't know if you got the idea from the games, but if Hayley didn't want to join in, there's no way I'll be able to get her to agree to it. She does not. If she didn't like it, she wouldn't do it. It's that simple. So, but it's nice to play singers. We play a lot of board games and things as well. And it's just nice that it did take a lockdown and a second lockdown to actually get her to play. But I've got some more opponents coming up as well, and I believe as well that there may even be a doubles game, or at least a Hayley versus me and Ken game if Dom gets his way. Yeah, these are royalists, mate. These are the King's Life Guard. So smart red uniforms, quite awesome flags as well. And then after this, I'll be potentially doing either Northampton's unit, which is, I believe, green. We've got green jackets, not like the 95th, not that kind of green jacket. And then of course there's Prince Rupert's blue coats. So I think I'm doing a fairly standard, or what would be considered a fairly standard royalist army, the Oxford army. But I can just add in and take away then. I'm really quite tempted by the Montrose army deal on Warlord's website, but the thought of all that tartan is putting me off a bit. I've got to say, it's maybe something I'd buy them, and then I'd have to wait until I was either confined without kids for quite a while, or I was ill. Do I use black powder 1 or 2 from opponents? I use black powder 2. I did play a lot of black powder 1, and then in black powder 2 there wasn't a great deal of changes. They just tidied up a few rules, some things that we've been house ruling anyway. There's not a great deal of difference between the two, to be honest. You could just pick up the old rule book and easily find out what the changes were and just game with that. we house rule a few things anyway. If you've watched the battles, you'll see there's a couple of things like we don't play with broken brigades when we're playing that small, because you're meant to, after a brigade has lost half its strength, you either test or you just flat out say it's that they're broken and effectively useless. So in a game where you've only got 2 brigades, that would be over quite quickly, especially if you roll like me. So what rattle can red? It's Army Painter. Hang on, it was kicking around here. Hang on a second. There it is. 1 second. It's one of these. Army Painter Pure Red, it's called. So I've had that before. That's what I undercoat all my British red coats in as well. So it's it comes out well. I'd assume that most coloured primers from in the rattle cans from Halfords, I'd assume that most of those are gloss. I know that you can get matte black and matte white and grey. Good luck, Cromwell will be waiting for them. Yeah, I'm sure he will. Old Ironsides, but you know, there's plenty of cool royalist stuff to do. And look what happened to Cromwell in the end. In fact, his house isn't too far away from here, and his head was found not very far away from here either. One of the colleges. It's only about a mile away from where I live. I don't know if you guys have all seen that or you know the story of Cromwell's head. If you haven't, look it up. The head was almost as a bigger story than the man it was attached to. Surprised that hasn't had a TV series. It'd be great. You could view the sort of world history from the point of view of Cromwell's head as it sort of passed between owners. If you can paint tartan, you can paint anything. Yep, I'm not going to disagree with that. There's a company, isn't there? Is it Battle Flag? They do tartan transfers now. Yeah, for the Victrix miniatures, they do tartan transfers. Now, I don't want to. I mean, I don't know if that's going to be any easier than getting them than actually painting it, actually trying to force those transfers into those sort of like correct gaps. But that might be the way to go. I don't know if they do all the regiments. They certainly do one. I can't tell you which one it is. It's definitely the one that I haven't done. Combined arms rules. I don't know that one. I'll have to look at that. I haven't played Team Yankee though. I played a lot of Flames of War, 2nd and 3rd edition. And then Battlefront just seemed to go very, very quiet for a while. And I know that they had some issues with, I think they were involved in the Dust Kickstarter, and I don't know if that slightly screwed them up a little bit. But I know obviously you got the new Flames of War, and they did a very cool thing at the last salute where you could just take along your old rulebook to prove you'd bought it, and they just gave you a new one. And you didn't even you didn't want the old one or anything, they just gave you a new rulebook, which was cool. So I will have to crack out. I've got a 15mm Panzer Grenadier army. I really did enjoy that game. It was great. I've had some fantastic. That was the game that got me into historical wargaming, Flames of War. Yeah, man, Dungeon, go check it out. It's a funny story. If you look at it on Wikipedia, there's also lots of little illustrations of his head. So there's like his head above on Tyburn or wherever it was, and then there's someone, they keep on drawing it. There's like photos of it. Go check it out. Hello, Miller. Looks good. Whatever I'm painting. Yeah, I wonder what that could be. What do you think? What do you think this is, mate? Got a lot of ECW to paint up for some reason. I am really enjoying these, I've got to say. I'm just getting the base colours all on them then, and then what I'll do after I've done the jackets and the breeches and these bits, I'll go through, and that's where I'll add in little details, or I might sort of change a couple of the colours that the guys are wearing, maybe put some patches on them. I don't know if I can have a completely clean regiment. Some people like painting like parade ready minis. That's not really my kind of thing. I like them having a bit of dirt, a bit of weathering on them. You like mastering tartan and not being beaten by it. You're a brave man. You're a very brave man. I think my Highlander regiment took me a good part of 8 weeks to do, because I do them as I do all my Napoleonics in stands of 6, so I paint them at a time, and I do one. I did the first one, and then I lost the will to live, left it a week, started the second one, and I just eked it out, and I ended up just painting them as I was painting other things, because I just couldn't bring myself to just sit there and paint all these Highlanders. And to be honest, they still were not as bad as the Hussars, the Hanoverian Hussars that I painted. But again, I think that was because I tried to tackle them all in one evening instead of stretching that out. I just sat down in one evening and knocked out 12 Napoleonic Hussars. And to be honest, I think it sent me a little bit funny. Damjan, from what you read of the English Civil War, Cromwell survived till the end. Why did he lose his head? He did survive to the end. You're right. He became Lord Protector. So he basically became effectively a king, just in everything but name. So he became the very thing that he was working to get rid of. Eventually he died, as everybody does. He was succeeded by his son, but Charles I's son, Charles II, took the opportunity to come back and was welcomed by Parliament as well as the people. So they installed him as king, and that's how we now have what's known as a constitutional monarchy, because the monarch now reigns effectively with the permission of Parliament. But he wasn't quite over the fact that his dad had had his head cut off by Parliament. So they dug him up and they gave him a posthumous execution. So his body was strung up. The corpse, I think it had been in the ground a few years, was it maybe 2-3 years? So they strung him up, they decapitated him, and his head, along with the head of a couple of the others who were instrumental in the regicide of Charles, was then displayed above London Bridge. So it didn't matter that he was already dead. They dug him up and executed him again anyway. You think that, Michael, you think the naps are the most difficult thing a miniature can paint? Yes, to a certain degree. Again, if you're going for the full parade uniforms, I'd maybe agree, yeah. The great coated miniatures, they're a bit easier. Again, rattle can, grey, all down the line, and then pick out a few in odd colours, and then you're golden, aren't you? Yeah, it's... I'm trying to think what would be the hardest. Samurai has been noted has been hard. All that armour, if you think about all the decoration on that armour, the different colour cords and braids. Imagine those are quite hard. To be fair, what I think one of the best paint jobs I've seen, something that one day I may tackle, is also Japanese, would be a sumo wrestler type character, but with a full body tattoo, with the sleeves and the chest and everything in that style. Bushido miniatures, and I play Bushido. They've got they're called the Silver Moon Syndicate, and they're effectively a fantasy sort of triad, Yakuza gang, and they've got some of these sumo wrestler miniatures and just normal guys as well, and they've got some awesome looking warrior women, and they've all got those full like body tattoos, and they look amazing. I'm surprised there hasn't been a company to jump on that actually and make a transfer for that. According to Duma, it was the help of certain Three Musketeers. We've got Charles II. Yeah, they helped, didn't they? Was it 4? But it was 4, wasn't it? What about D'Artagnan? Or was he? Where was he? Have you guys actually read what happens to D'Artagnan and the Musketeers at the end? Because everyone just, I think, bases it on the films, but in the books, like, D'Artagnan actually dies. He dies laying siege to a castle. I think he gets just hit by I can't remember. I think he actually just gets shot by a cannon. That never makes it into any of the films. Oh no, he does die in one film, doesn't he? He dies in Gabriel Byrne plays him in The Man with the Iron Mask with Leonardo DiCaprio. He dies in that. That's where you got Jeremy Irons and John Malkovich and Gerard Depardieu as the Three Musketeers. I quite like those three. That's the Three Musketeers. Oh man, sorry, so many comments. I've missed some of these. Landsknechts. Yeah. I think with Landsknechts, you've just got to go bold. Have you seen Leon's? Leon T66. Go on his channel and check out his Landsknechts. They are awesome as well. They are wicked. I can't remember. I think he maybe. I don't know if he ever intended to paint as many as he did. They look bloody awesome though. Absolutely wicked. I'd really like to see those in the game. Romance of Three Kingdoms would be difficult too. Yeah. That'd be quite cool though. Hello Matt. Sorry I didn't see you pop in. You've got Prime Landsknechts but not got around to them. Apparently they aren't too bad though. Leon came... Oh, sorry, I'm going to plug... Seem to be... Yeah, I'm just going to plug Leon's channel a bit. Go and have a look at Leon's channel. He come up with a method for using just 3 or 4 colours but randomising it enough through them in stripes and things that they looked uniform yet completely different, if that makes any kind of sense at all. Go check it out because they came out amazing. Yeah, I know our pronunciation can be a bit off. I'm using bolt action for Vietnam. I've never played a Vietnam game. Never played. I don't know if that's just a little bit too recent for my taste, which is weird when I play some sci-fi stuff. But you know, not bolt action. Flames of War. They did a Vietnam one, didn't they, as well? The Three Muskets cartoon. You mean the Musco Hounds? Tim Curry is one of the best Cardinals. Tim Curry's also arguably, to me, is scarier as Pennywise in It than the new one. I mean, I like those new It films, but I still think Tim Curry's It was more terrifying. Whatever happened to the character Monet in the TV series Cold? It's no idea. Hello, Jay. Sabaton is the best. One of the best. I think I've seen... God, how many times have I seen them now? Probably 13 or 14 times. Haley gets happy birthday messages from them because we saw them, the very first time we saw them was in 2008, which was one of their breakout gigs at a festival in Belgium called Grasspop. And they were meant to be the first band on, but 2 or 3 bands cancelled, so they got shoved up the bill. So they had to play a set that they hadn't planned because they had to fill a time slot that they hadn't planned to fill, and it was amazing. And then after that, they seemed to take off. That was on the Art of War record. Also, the fact that that's a wicked record helped. But yeah, I do like a bit of Sabaton. I did see them this year just before lockdown at the O2 in London, and that was an amazing gig. Who is my favourite 16th century priest? Cranmer? He was cardinal, was he archbishop? He was archbishop, wasn't he, Cranmer? And the only reason I can tell you that is because I've just finished reading a series of novels where he's in them. So I can't tell you much about him. I think he did he get burned? Did Mary burn him? I'm pretty sure Mary burned him. There you go. I think that's impressive if I actually even could think of one. Rubicon's Vietnam plastic stuff. I still haven't bought any Rubicon. My mate's, so the guy who I played the Wars of the Roses stuff against, he's currently building up some Rubicon kits, and he keeps on sending me pictures of them. They look really nice. But again, I've deliberately not gone on their website because I've just got so much to do. And if I start adding in tanks, it's going to, I'm clearly just going to drop everything and do those. We're getting there, guys. I'm nearly blocked out all of these. Beatles are better in your opinion. No insult.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, no, the Beatles are awesome. There's a lot of good bands. I'm slowly training my daughter in musical taste. I mean, she's only 4 years old, but she will tell you she likes Rotting Christ, which is something I am quite proud of. And it's not just a pleasantry either. She can tell you a few songs. The first one of the first songs I ever got my daughter to listen to was "Du Hast" by Rammstein, and she had as a second birthday party. We hired a place out, and I was asked to do a playlist because he had kids sort of like in a ball pit, like a soft place, and they could pummel each other in this thing. And so he had like Humpty Dumpty and Jack and Jill and all this kind of stuff, and it was all quite sweet. But so I just started inserting songs in here and there. And I inserted "Du Hast" in there. It came on. She went absolutely nuts and just kind of pushed this other boy into the ball pit. These other kids looked slightly terrified, and some of their parents I don't think were overly happy, but I thought it was funny. My daughter had a good time, and it was her birthday, so... Whoa, what's going on here? I just went down... There you go, I told you I've got a favourite 16th century priest. There you go, Archbishop Cranmer. He died in like 1540 something. So I'll go with him. Juliet was sexy for a cartoon. What? Oh, is this the Musco? No, that's the... you on about the Musco hounds? That's... I think we're getting in some weird territory there. But there has been debates about the Disney's Robin Hood as well. That one of my cousins, he always thought that the female Maid Marian the fox and that, he always thought that she looked very nice. I'm not even going to get that into this now. Your mate's banned you from introducing his daughter to your favourite bands like Dire Straits, Styx and Poison. Why?
Why would you ban it? If you ask my daughter what is best in life, she will say crush your enemies. That's the kind of stuff that sort of I'm trying to get through on my daughter. I don't know quite how that's going to go down at school, but if anyone, I don't think there's ever going to be a time at school where someone says, Tessa, what do you do to your enemies? The answer, Tessa, is reconciliation. No, crush your enemies. And as you can tell from the way her mother plays Wargames, it's kind of a mantra in this house. John D. Very interesting man. Yeah, I thought you wrote John de Vere then, as in the Earl of Oxford. I was about to say, that's I agree with that. John de Vere is a really interesting man. Someone else, if you're interested in someone who was a bit of a swashbuckler, you should go check out The War of the Roses, John de Vere, that is. Not his great-great granddad. He didn't come to a very nice end, that one. But no, the one who helped Henry Tudor take the throne, he was a bit of a swashbuckler. I think he escaped prison in a French castle, jumping off the battlements, and landed in the moat and got away. But there's actually some debate now about whether he was actually trying to commit suicide and just failed to kill himself and actually escaped in the process. Because he couldn't really. It was an absolute fluke that he survived. I'll let you guys decide what you should leave. I'm not getting involved. I know. I like to think I did. I did teach her well. You inundated him with it at university. He's a big fan of things like Marvin Gaye. People should just experience all types of music. That's the best thing. I say all types of music. There is some music that I'd rather didn't come home. I'm quite happy for her to like it as long as it stays at school. Well, she's only 4. Have I got a call from a school yet about her interesting music taste? No, my cousin actually works with her in the school, so I'm waiting for a parents' evening or something, or for her to give me a heads up going, Martin, they want to talk to you. She likes Star Wars and stuff, you know, and Dark Crystal and things like that.
She also likes looking at the models, although we haven't had a game yet. Oh no, I tell a lie actually. She played some Lord of the Rings with me when I got that out originally. Your mate was in a documentary about Henry VIII. He was playing the king in a 3-part series. Okay. Henry VIII is a bit of a rum old character though, isn't he? Really. I mean... Alright. Okay. Oh, wait, no. One last bit to do. Come on. See you later, dude. Thank you for dropping in. I don't know how regularly I'll do these things. I'll just probably do them as I can. It's nice to have a chat. Ooh. See, I don't know. I've actually found researching the English Civil War harder than the War of the Roses. The War of the Roses, I've got like a library of stuff now. Of heraldry, battles, plans, all sorts, because I just find it fascinating. But trying to get stuff for this is a nightmare. I don't know if I'm just looking in all the wrong places. Obviously there's the Osprey books and there's some really good publications, but of course everyone just tends to seem to focus on the political side of things. Cromwell and Charles and the bishops. They don't seem to go too much in the ordinary soldiers. And I've gone on the Sealed Knots website and got some information off there and the reenactment groups. And there's some cool photos. There's one group, I'll have to find out who it is, but they've got purple jackets, so I might just paint them because I've never done a purple unit before in any game. So I might have to do them, that could be quite fun. Just lots of flags. There we go. So there's all the colours blocked in. Now contrast is going to go over the top of those in various places. And then what I'll do is I'll be weathering them up and he'll look something like this. And they're done. Well, that's the plan anyway. Henry VIII was a very interesting guy to read about in his younger years. He was very nice. He was considered very nice. I read because he was married to Catherine of Aragon for like 20 years, and I read something. He had quite a bad jousting accident, which gave him his the problem with his leg. But someone has also put forward the idea that like maybe that affected him psychologically as well, and that kind of sent him on a bit of a spiral. And then of course, you know, all the things that happened with the Reformation and who's in favour one minute and the next, and who gets to keep their head. Yeah, basically, I know his brother Arthur was favoured a lot more. Henry VII was, I mean, I know obviously coming in, I play Yorkist, but Henry VII was a nightmare. He basically turned England, you know, everyone talks about, you know, you have the death of Richard III and you have the start of the Tudor period, and it's almost like the start of the English Renaissance, and that's when we count the post-medieval period starting. But Henry VII was a monster. The reason he was king is there was no one left around to challenge him. And well, I don't want to get into sort of like my theories on things, but you know, it's looking at he had like a whole statewide spy system, spy network. He was absolutely obsessed with money. He's the one who came up with it with sovereigns. He minted the very first sovereign and then stamped his name on it, sovereign, like I am in control of the money. That's probably got more to do with his upbringing. The fact that he was effectively a refugee, and then he had 2 sons, and he was obsessed with keeping his line going. But of course, that only lasted what, 2 generations. Okay, Hellion and Company. I'll have a look at those. Okay. Cheers, chaps. I'll have a look at all of those. 30 Years War. To be fair, I've got a 30 Years War Swedish army, and I've just painted them blue and with buff jackets. That's what I've done for them. And then I've got a Cossack force
and I've just painted them all the colours I could possibly look at. Right, let's see now. What have I done here? So I've got the metallics done. I think it's time to put some wash over these metallics. I say wash, I'm going to chuck a contrast paint over them. And where is it? So I'm going to chuck a grey, basilicanium grey when I find it, over these. Where are we? That's Black Templar. Come on. There we go. No, that's green. You guys can't see the massive drawer of paints that I have here. Where are we? There we go, basilicanium grey. So I've been using this now as effectively like an armour wash since it came out. Try the Three Kingdoms. Do you know what? I'm going to admit something. The only stuff I know about the Three Kingdoms of China is what was in the Dynasty Warriors game, and I'm going to assume that that isn't the most historically accurate source. I'd love to know more. I mean, the thing is, there's so many periods to research and to look at, isn't there? That's why I try really hard when I'm, I watch documentaries, and this is how I got in the Carthaginian problem. If and I got a wee bit drunk and then ordered them, somewhat, is there? Can anyone think of a period where someone hasn't made figures? I know some ranges might not be well represented, but can anyone think of it like a period that hasn't been done? Or that they'd like to see more? I mean, everyone would like to see more in something, but is there anything that hasn't? Not like I'm looking for ideas for Kickstarters or anything like that. Maybe it's just curious. The Balkan Wars. Yeah, okay, yeah. That's right. Actually, well, no, I think there's no, I'm sure there's a company that's done that. I'll have to have a look and send you. I'm sure there is. I remember reading a thread about it, or maybe they were converted. The main thing I remember about those Dynasty Warriors games is that it was exactly the same game, wasn't it? It was the same story. It took me ages to realise this. It was the same story, just with better graphics and more troops and weapons each time, because I always started with the Rebellion of the Yellow Turbans, something like that, and every time I bought this game it was always the same and I couldn't work out why. But and I realised it was all just based on that, and effectively each game is just an upgrade of that story and of those graphics. Probably a lot of wars that didn't involve Westerners. Yeah, that's a fair point. Fair point. To be honest, I'm quite lucky in the periods that I'm choosing to game at the minute. There are a lot of manufacturers, and because Perry do that, I've already spoken about it. The Awesome Wars of Roses set, the conversion and kit bashing potential is huge. So never going to really be needing any others. Although I've got a couple of ideas for something I might run, but that's a little bit secret at the moment. We'll have to see how that progresses. But I need to need some time to plan that project out. Hello, Peter. I hope you're well, mate. It's true for games like FIFA or Madden. That's very true. But that's very true. I'm not a big fan of FIFA or Madden. That's a very good point, actually. I never thought about that, and I'll have to use that when someone says a similar thing to me. I haven't bought a game for ages. I was looking at that Ghost of Tsushima, a samurai game. Looked like an amazing graphics. I have no idea what it's about. I have no idea if it's fantasy. I just saw samurai in a field of waving corn, and it looked cool. I don't know. I think it's fairly recent, so it'll probably be fairly expensive at the minute, and I'd rather drop 50 quid on models than 50 quid on a new game.
Right, so that's all of the helmets done. Oh, we can't do. Oh, I've been on for an hour. What I'll do is I'll just get these pikes done, and then I'll probably end up calling that just the end of a session there. It's been nice to chat to you guys and do a little bit of painting. To see if I'm going to work on these tomorrow on the stream or something else. I still say I've still got some Carthaginians. My Carthaginian commander's turned up, so I might try and get him done. Plus I've got these veterans here. Oh, there goes one. I've got these veterans here to do. So now I've got my commander. I'm going to finish those off. Going to be running through tonight some rules videos for Impetus as well, as I'm learning it. Thought that'd be a laugh. See what people think. People might hate it, but it's just nice to look at other systems as well. There we go. So I'll let that all dry. After this, I'm blocking some colours. There you go, guys. So hopefully this lot will not take too much longer. Skyrim. Well, I was talking about Skyrim yesterday because I think it was one of my favourite games, because in the first hour I had more fun running away from a giant than I did in any other game, until it like kicked me across the world. You want more 16th century stuff from Warlord. Things with Warlord, aren't they? I mean, they're primarily focused on World War II, because that's, I suppose, what everyone's interested in. That's what they're selling, aren't they? When I went to the Warlord Open Day, we were in a Q&A, and basically they said that they're open to rules and to research and lines from lots of people. They say just write it. My friend asked about like a Spanish Civil War expansion for Bolt Action, and they said, you know, they'd never produce it, but people write them, and a lot of their source books that get written are actually from people who are really passionate about that period and know more than they do. And they go to Warlord and then put them in touch with Osprey. But I did say that the money in it isn't great, and it is a real passion project. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna end the stream now. I'm gonna call it a day. I've got to go and start getting some dinner ready. And oh, hang on, I just saw a War of the Roses question come in, so I'm gonna look at this. After painting starting Wars of Roses, once I've drifted into the next century as well, feels like a common problem. Yeah, it can be. I mean, the Wars of the Roses though takes over 30 years, so you can use some late 100 Years War stuff because armour would have been passed about a bit, and you'd have had the experimental armour from the continent with the mercenaries. I'm starting to drift looking at the Burgundian Wars, so you know. Anyway, I will see you chaps soon. Take care of yourselves, and yeah, enjoy the rest of the weekend.